Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I am Deanna. Today I am with my friend Naomi. You will see her in just a minute, whether she likes it or not. We are in Warren, Rhode Island at my friend Hayley Perry's studio, Loop by Loop. So I want to show you some of the things that she sells here, and then I want to venture into the back room and look at some of the new projects, collage pieces that she's been working on. Let's do this together. It's so colorful here. Okay, so in this area here, you can see Hayley's got, this is when you first enter, a lot of her pieces up on the wall and a lot of the supplies. If you are a Loop by Loop customer, this is where the stuff is coming from, right? She's got all this beautiful stuff that's ready to go, some kits, some lovely things up on the wall, some different kinds of yarns, all different kinds of things, and she was dying again. So I'm headed in this direction shortly. And all of the kits, right? All of these great beginner kits. This is like one of the great brands for doing kits as a beginner. A lot of these pieces we've seen before. We should look at again. This is me right here. This is me. But really what I want to focus on right now is through this curtain. There is Hayley and Liz Bessel, right? Is that right? Liz Bessel? Yeah. And all this pretty stuff too. Now, hey, you two have been working on some projects together?
Yes. We have been kind of challenging ourselves through 2024.
Yeah.
We call ourselves creative partners. We both work here at the Cutler Mills, both fiber artists and other kinds of artists, other mediums. And we have been working together to kind of like push ourselves into uncomfortable places.
Ooh.
Maybe technically.
Very uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
very uncomfortable.
Interesting.
Kind of, also learning new skills, but also just like challenging different techniques, pushing different techniques,
Combining different techniques.
Learning
Learning each other's techniques.
Yeah, so as you know, I'm primarily a rug hooker, but Liz...
I'm more punch needle embroidery.
Oh, are you?
Combo.
That's right.
I do a lot of, like
Quilting,
multi-fiber. Yeah.
embroidery, stitching.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
her
So you
work,
punch
it's
a
wonderful.
needle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hook thanks to Hayley. Like
Yeah.
I'll do pieces that combine quilting, embroidery, punch, and hooking. I've had them all in one.
Yeah.
So
And Liz, what would you say your style is? Is it like contemporary?
I'd say it's more contemporary.
Yeah.
Kind of like whimsical contemporary.
Yes.
I'd say. Yeah.
And colorful,
yes.
because
Very
Hayley, your
colorful,
style
yes.
is very colorful,
Yes.
contemporary, but it pulls on art history too, right? It's got an art history
very
backbone.
abstract. I work in a variety of media, but all kind of in the same kind of abstract color theory / abstract landscape realm. You can probably see some of the paintings behind me.
Yeah.
Liz, I would say, is also very colorful, but she also has challenged me to start playing with like neutrals and different palettes. We have very different palettes, but I would say you're still very colorful.
Yeah, I was so colorful that I actually forced myself to do a year working just in neutrals, and that really changed my work. So
that is challenging.
The fact that Hayley recognizes that in my work makes me feel like that was worth it, because it was kind of
gosh.
that was challenging.
Yeah.
That is challenging.
So, but it's we're both, I'd say, very colorful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Hayley, what would you say, like, in terms of like art? Would you say like your favorite sort of school is like Impressionism, like that kind of, or like something else?
Like postmodernism, modernism, postmodernism. I'm really into like Richard Diebenkorn or any of the color theorists like Helen Frankenthaler, like those people, but also like contemporary artists, Jessica Stockholders, who's a really great kind of like collagist sculptor person. Plenty
So
of
so
others.
that kind of color aesthetic, or that sort of it goes really well with neutrals, right? Because you think of like mid-century modern and how well.
Right. I would say
Liz
your
coming in with her
is very like modern, modern, postmodern.
I think so. Yes. Like I'm a big Annie Albers.
Oh God! Don't get me started. Don't get me started. I love her.
Off all these names.
I love her.
Oh God! Don't ask me.
I know.
She has a much more academic knowledge.
Well, you just went for like the textile person of all time.
I just know who I like, and I zero.
I love her too.
On that.
And I love her husband.
Yes, I know. I know.
Right. I love them both. Yeah,
So.
but Helen Frankenthaler is like one of my favorite artists. I just love her so much. I go crazy when I think about her. But this seems like a great sort of fusion.
Great pattern.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, we've done some videos where we're talking about like if you can find somebody
Yeah.
that you can work with, and not somebody who's just like you, somebody
Right.
that
Right.
maybe has like a different point of view,
Yeah.
and you can have really honest discussions. Like we do a ton of critique together.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't had a critique partner in years,
And
just to have that.
It took time to build that trust. I mean, we've worked kind of alongside each
parallel.
other, parallel for
7-8
like,
years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we've been accountability partners and
Mhm.
done little things like that in the
Yeah.
past. But this was the first time we really,
Mhm.
in this past year, merged and really challenged ourselves
Yeah.
to.
We started
But
talking
yeah,
about
so
art
we
really
built. It's
seriously.
almost like it's like if you build it, it will happen.
Yeah,
We built
yeah.
that foundation, and now we're reaping the benefits
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, for
Really.
sure.
But you know, it's also great to be you both are obviously the kind of person, both the kind of people who would want another person to succeed, and you don't have that strong competitive insanity
No, yes,
happening.
yeah,
Yeah, because you
it's-
can't be a good supporter or a good critiquer
Oh my
of a
gosh.
friend if you have that in the back of
That's-
your
yes,
mind.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
you're lucky
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
found each other.
It
and-
is.
yeah.
Sometimes it can be hard to find that. I mean,
I would
yes.
think so too. So
Yeah.
Definitely.
We're very lucky. We know we're lucky too.
Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah.
do know we're fortunate. Yeah.
Aw.
So I felt, compelled to sort of do work through sort of like some of this like weird, like joint pain I've
Yeah.
been having. Let's just say it. I've been
Okay.
having like a hard time doing all the hooking that I might want to be doing. So,
Okay.
but I still feel very compelled to make art. I have my accountability partner that's
Yeah.
rooting for me. So I've been doing a lot more things
Yeah.
like collage.
Now, are the paintings behind you? Is that part of this era, or are those like color studies from before?
These, the ones up here, the paintings, those are from like the last 5 or 6 years.
Those are
These
gorgeous.
bigger ones and the work down below, that's all from last year.
Oh wow! Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, there's cords.
No, that's okay. God, I love this.
Yeah, thank you.
Does that have a name or not at the
It
moment?
does. I mean, full disclosure, it has a name written on my computer that
Yes.
I cannot remember.
Yeah,
All
it's
of my
absolutely
names tend
gorgeous.
To be like place 1, landscape 2.
I mean-
they're not super descriptive.
They are excellent compositions.
Thank you.
These are incredible. And you're directing me to this one here,
Yeah,
right?
so that was the first kind of collage mixed media painting. It might be the second that I did. Again, this was kind of like last summer.
Yeah.
And that's something I hooked and did a collage, and then I sort of slapped it on this canvas that I had already sort of pre-painted.
Is that the thrift store?
Gosh.
challenge? Is that? Yeah, we went to the thrift store and we challenged ourselves to only use things from the
that
thrift
haul.
store. So that's how that
That
started.
is challenging.
Yes.
So you
yeah.
found some material and you just did you cut it up?
Yep, we cut up material, we hooked with material. I think you did some punching and
Yeah.
stitching on yours.
Yeah.
I did primarily rug hooking and collage.
And there's some painted
Yeah.
stenciled like
Yeah,
doilies
that's
It
collage
came
paper.
to life when she
Yep.
slapped it on the canvas. Though.
Wow.
It was like the aha moment.
You know, it really did. And you can definitely see the evolution of like, these I'm absolutely in love with. And I mean, this is apples and oranges, right? Even though it has a similar vibe to it. Apples and oranges, but it really is like with this fabric collage, it's like you are evolving, you are multiplying the possibilities of doing stuff with your fiber art, with your hooking
Right.
stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. It's been about pushing the boundaries a bit. And so rug hooking, it's also bringing me, even though I've been rug hooking a really long time, I'm really exploring it as a 3-dimensional element, as like objects. And even though rugs are objects, I'm exploring it kind of in a more sculptural way, which is leading me to kind of cut it up and manipulate it in that way rather than just keeping it smooth.
Yeah.
Working again also like with this some different kinds of quilling techniques to give things sort of a 3-dimensional, which is something that I have been
Gorgeous.
playing with, but for this, and this is in progress. This is not
Yeah.
done. This has a lot of work to do.
Oh, it's
to
absolutely
go.
beautiful
But
though.
thank you.
And
It
look,
is
this is like
exciting
your
color-wise.
these are your paint tubes right here.
Yeah, all my materials. I have them all over the
Gosh.
studio right now.
This is really brilliant stuff. I just
Oh,
love
thank
this.
you. It's really kind of you to say.
Oh, I just love it. All this. So for those of us who are rug hookers, or maybe you're thinking about rug hooking, these are the sort of quillies that you're referring to that are like like they're circle shapes.
Yeah, rolled paper or pieces of fabric.
Yep, and then like the standing
Yep.
wool is like not a circle, right? But it still falls under the category of like a quilly of standing wool. And then you've actually got a hooked piece here, which
Yep.
is kind of like what you've done thus far. And you've got lots of fiber and paper that you've cut up.
This is a painting that I cut. These are some smaller paintings that I cut up. So I'm finding a way to incorporate paper back in instead of just having paint with fiber on top. I'm trying to incorporate the paper as a three-dimensional element too. There's a lot going on. Of course, not all successful, but that's not the point, right? Like we're just seeing what can happen with
Absolutely. And like you've just got a collection of different mediums here, right? You're not just using paint, you're not just using fiber. And like with all modern art and expressionist and abstract art, it always boils down to like, how does it make you feel, right? If I look at it and I say, God, that really makes me feel like that one time last summer, and I wish I could capture that or remember that, and this is as close as I've ever gotten, then someone is going to love this piece, whether you feel like it's finished or not, or the best one or not.
Yeah, but it's also like it has a lot to do with like, just finding things, finding like interesting materials, seeing how I can manipulate them in an interesting way. It's very like, I wouldn't say it's like Robert Rauschenberg because his work is so genius, but it's that idea of like the collaging together and just finding things, seeing what works,
and that's the spirit of rug hooking too, right? Yes. As rug hookers, we're kind of hardwired to find stuff and try to use all of it.
Yeah.
And you've got your scraps out here, and you've got big pieces and small pieces here, and I just think it's super exciting. What's going on with this piece here? Is that?
Yep. So this is my piece right now. That is it's. I always have a canvas. This is kind of nothing-ish, but because I always have a canvas outside of what I'm primarily working on to take my extra paint.
I see.
And slap on the
You're
canvas.
Using it as like a palette.
Then I have, so I take the leftover paint from the painting day and I put it on something else, and might be
That's so cool. It's like
filling in, so I'm not working with a blank canvas. I have something
I see.
Work with. So it's not been filled in with any kind of...
That's a cool insight into like your working process.
Yeah, it's good because then I don't waste any paint and I have something ready to go.
Absolutely.
So I have to say, I have been wanting to work larger
than
this. These are kind of the two pieces that I started working on after I finished a really large one that's over on the wall. And I think after this, I'm ready to do a large sculptural piece again. So, it's just following your intuition that way. Don't be afraid to... switch gears.
Absolutely.
And follow.
This is great. This is a great example with the joint pain problem. This is a great example of making lemonade here, right? I mean, you're still doing creative work that's really innovative and inspiring.
Yeah. Well, again, I credit kind of being on this good roll, of kind of working all of 2024 with someone else, of being like, okay, don't stop just because your body hurts. Like, just figure out a way.
Yeah, you can't roll up the sidewalk when you're an artist and you're young and there's still stuff to do. Yeah. Well, these are great. Should we look at some over there?
Sure, yeah.
Amazing. Naomi, where did you go? She's hiding. I'm going to find her in the end. All right. Where should we come?
I have the big piece right there. That one I do consider done at this point. The littler piece next to it, that I also consider done, with two unfinished pieces kind of below. Okay. I would say these are more fiber. And I think, again, that is credit to working, like, not on a canvas. There's something about them that they've become more fiber.
Well, it's funny. I'm going to back up carefully here. It's funny because, I love the way you have the smaller one on like a, painter's board. It's like a shadow box, but you are experimenting with doing some pieces that are that have irregular shapes.
Right.
That's interesting. Now, do you have, are you experimenting with layering color and materials? Do you have a vision like of a theme, or are you thinking more color theory?
More color theory, more just reaction to the materials. Yeah. So making a choice and then making other choices based upon what happened. So this piece that you're panning over now is the first one where I started adding braiding. Yeah. Which is a new thing for me. I'm still sort of figuring it out, but it
looks lovely.
Just finding some other way I can manipulate the materials.
Does it surprise you? I mean, you've always done a lot with color. Does it surprise you that you're able to do a piece like this that has so much color in it, but it's still quite cohesive to look at?
I mean, that's the idea always. It's solving a problem, solving a color problem is kind of what's really excites me.
Yeah,
really gets my mind working is taking all of these very, very colorful pieces and somehow putting them together so that it doesn't just look like a mess.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole exercise.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's so interesting. And these are 2 pieces that you're working on now.
That aren't done. Actually, I think this was the first braiding that I did. I texted Liz and I was like, things are happening. She came down.
That must have been an exciting call.
I get so excited when she says those words. Something's happening.
Yeah. But I haven't revisited, and then this is another one that I'm hoping will expand beyond the confines of the linen and become another large piece.
Yeah, this reminds me of your thrift store time with almost like a piece of sweater here.
Yeah, some of it is. I acquire different sweaters. Well, I keep it short, but I did a whole at a local library. We made sweater pumpkins. I got a little grant to do that. So but it only used the sleeves of sweaters. So I see. Like 15 sweaters that I need to use. So again, it's that spirit of recycling what you have, and
there's plenty out there.
Yeah, there sure are.
Gosh, and what about this whole series over here? This you're doing stuff with Quilly here?
Yeah, so this is work from like 2023, 2024 when I first started playing with quillies and a more kind of sculptural effect of them coming off the wall. And then some of the rug hooking work that's over here is sort of my first like shaped rugs and rugs that have like a little bit of a 3-dimension as well.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. So now your project continues to be you and Liz working on stuff like we're looking at today. That's still where you're at for this moment?
We are.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't mean still. I mean, you're not even scraping the surface of all of the things that might happen.
Yeah, we're still sort of, what we're doing a lot of is we're posing problems like challenges to ourselves, and then we're solving them kind of in our own unique way. Sometimes it overlaps and being like all abstraction, sometimes not.
Right.
We have another challenge coming up very soon where I'll do just gonna spoil it. Is that okay?
That's spoilers.
We're gonna be doing portraits.
Spoiler alert. Stop
Ooh,
it.
spoiler alert.
Self-portraits. Which is a departure from what both of us are doing.
That's a hell of a challenge,
But also like something that is it's gonna be a challenge.
It is.
Challenge from our challenging.
And it may not be a literal self-portrait either. Right. I mean, it can be.
I see.
Illustrative.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we have that coming up, and beyond that, we're just gonna see where the wind blows us. Because again, I think what we're learning is it's like as artists, it's about following our intuition.
It is. One thing leads to another. We've definitely found that, and we feed off of what we've done, and we feed off of each other, and we just keep going forward. I mean, it keeps it exciting. Yeah. There's like never a dry spell, really. Right. I mean, we might have periods where we like get distracted or stall out, but like it doesn't last long because one of us kind of makes a leap and then away we go again.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that like with your relationship that it's nice to think that other people could find someone that they could have this kind of really creative and symbiotic relationship that's positive. Where you're both helping each other because there's the ebb and the flow, and there's always going to be those times when you feel whatever life beat you up a little bit that morning and you're not feeling it. And it's nice to have someone who, can maybe compensate or spring you back a little bit faster than you could manage on your own.
Right. Oh, definitely. Well, and I think the other thing, too, is not only we have been working together, but we also are thinking about maybe trying to expand that a little bit. Yes. We have like an online YouTube Expressive Stitch collective.
Ooh.
And just not like a ton of videos, but we're there. We try to post pretty regularly, but we're thinking maybe like this year we'll throw it out and invite people in.
I think that's a great idea.
One of the things we really have in common is we're very community minded, and we really we want to bring fiber people together so that they can feed off of each other, like you said, not this
not this competitive,
but just really just grow from each other.
It's about the art
and to embrace sharing too, right? Because we sometimes feel threatened when we're like, oh my god, this is great, and somebody comes in and then they're so inspired they start doing it, and it's just so nice to be in a group of people that you're like, that's great, run with it, do it, follow it, because it's about the art,
and the art, and your art and my art, and it's not
there's no competition in
Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
everybody's going to do
Yeah.
something
That's the
different.
right
and while we're
mindset.
very similar, we're also very different. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
It's. I mean, it's. We just. I think. Just it's a great symbiotic relationship.
And when you work together and you've got all these different mediums going and you've got these kinds of sub challenges like the thrift store challenge, it's like you bring a bunch of tools, all your different materials, all of the ideas, and you put them down on the table, and even if there's 100 people there, they're all going to do different things with the same toolbox.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I think people sometimes don't get. It's not about stealing my technique or stealing my nothing is
Never
new
gonna
under the
come out
sun.
the same way.
And-
I mean, we're both teachers too.
Yes.
So we know that. We see
Yeah.
it in
And
our
one thing
students.
we found works really well when we've had groups of people working together is just like you would in an art class to do a group critique
Yeah.
and to talk about each other's work,
Yeah.
and that makes people become very vulnerable, I think,
Yes.
and get used to sort of exposing themselves to the people they're working with, and I feel like that really helps that feeling
Yeah.
of non-competitiveness grow.
Right, it's true.
I'm
And
kind of thinking out
people-
loud while I say that,
No,
but
it's
yeah.
true.
Yeah,
I
you're
think-
evolving a great philosophy.
Yeah, and people are really good at critique. Like
Yeah,
when
they
they
are.
don't know that they're going to be good at critique, people can see things and comment on things, and they're so insightful. People who have never even been in a critique setting
Yeah.
before, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate people being so honest.
Yeah,
know.
and it feels so great to hear the way someone sees your work, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Like
enlightening.
absolutely,
Oh.
because it's hard. It's like looking at yourself, right? You tend to always see the flaws,
Yes, yes.
unless you have an incredible ego, right?
Right,
Which
right.
most artists don't.
Oh,
And it's great to hear what people see and what strikes them, and it's maybe something that you want to build. So just communication and getting together and doing any kind of community spirited projects and bringing as many people to
Yeah.
this craft, to fiber arts in general, I think is so super important.
Yeah.
And giving them the ability to do work like this and express themselves and just feel good about life, feel better about themselves, right?
Yeah.
What else is there, man, right? I mean,
I
really,
know.
like
Something
what else
that's
is there?
True.
Having
That
a
is
creative
true.
practice.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's
It's
huge.
huge. It's gotten us both through rough times,
Yeah.
and it's
Absolutely.
we just want other people to feel that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better
Yeah.
than like a bottle of booze in the morning,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Although, no, just kidding. Wait a minute.
Sometimes that has its place. No.
Yeah, it does. There's a time for everything. Now, let's
Right.
see. Naomi, are you going to come back and sit on the Chetty Camp and show us this style of hooking real fast?
I just wanted to try it.
Yeah. Come back and try it. Hey, Naomi. I knew you were here.
I was
You
hiding.
slippery little monkey.
That's me.
All right. So Naomi's trying out Hayley's Chetty Camp frame here. I'm sorry, Shutty Comp. And yeah, it's this beautiful floor frame that runs on a cog
Yes.
system.
Yeah.
I don't know how any of it works, but I love them every time
Oh,
I
it's
see
simple.
them.
It's simple.
It's like sitting at a
I
grand
know.
piano, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's awful big. Okay, well, let's try a little piece. Sorry, Hayley, you can pull these right out.
No, don't you worry about it.
So
I'm
this
sorry
can be-
it's so slack right now.
Oh, that looks great. This could be enormously huge because this is wound several times.
Yeah.
This could be like
Oh, I
for,
should
for the
show
breakers.
You, my other, you keep looking at her.
Oh,
I'll show you my
yeah.
other poles.
Oh, this feels fiber.
The fiber feels good. It's
Oh.
one of those nice like roving type
It
yarns,
is.
like
I
hardly
May
spun.
have to come home with
Is that a
me.
Malabrigo that she's cute?
That's
Yeah.
a beautiful
Yeah.
brand,
I
isn't
think
it?
it's Diana. These are, you could make a rug this big. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh wow,
But
that's
this is a rug.
that's big.
That's the
Wow.
grand piano that's way up there. You can put these poles on that, and you can make a really large area size rug.
Oh
Of course,
wow,
that's not what's on
without
it.
a seam, like that's
Yes,
incredible.
Right. And
Yeah.
I don't know how long this is. I don't think it's as long as my roll of linen over there.
Oh,
was
that's
gonna say,
a
it's
that's a
pretty
monster.
Close. Yeah, pretty close. So.
That's a
Nice.
monster.
Yeah.
Well, Hayley, this is so fun being here. Liz, it was so much fun being with you
Oh,
too.
Thank you so much.
for your wonderful interview.
Yeah, let's do an. Should we do an outro together?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it. Here we go. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching again. I am with Hayley Perry and Liz Bessel.
Yep.
And we are at the Loop by Loop studio in Warren, Rhode Island. Naomi over here from Ravensgate Primitives. It was great to see you on the Ribbon Candy Hooking channel. I will see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye.